Match week 3 of the 23-24 Premier League season has officially concluded. I'm going to recap all the results, the highlights, the lowlights, and every big moment that you need to know from this past weekend. Hi, everybody. I'm Sideline Sedo. Welcome back to the Sideline Sedo YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk about all of the matches, my predictions. We're going to see how my FPL team did. PS didn't do too hot. But we're going to see how I also did with my predictions. Last week was a killer week. I had 7 out of 9 predictions, I think. And this week is also a pretty decent week. But first, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I have all sorts of different football content varieties on the channel. So depending on what you're into, there's probably something for you on my channel. So consider giving a sub. But we're going to start with the first match of the weekend. Also, comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts on all these fixtures throughout the weekend, what your favorite fixture was, what your least favorite fixture was. Sound off in the comments. But Chelsea 3, Luton 0. I predicted Chelsea 3, Luton 0. This was a very scarily close prediction. Raheem Sterling got himself a brace against Luton in the 17th and 68th minute. And then Nicholas Jackson scored a goal as well in the 75th. I predicted for Sterling, Jackson, and Enzo to score. Enzo hit the post at some point in the second half after Luton was caught sleeping from a throw-in, and I thought he was going to score, and my prediction was going to be spot on. But this was just truly a game where Chelsea was far, far, far ahead of Luton in terms of quality, and Luton just never really stood a chance. They had 1 shot on target, 11 shots in total, significantly less possession. And they were just, not able to really make an impact in the game all that much. I didn't get to catch the full game because I was at work, but pretty decent start to the predictions and a good result for Chelsea overall. Luton is going to struggle in games away from home, I would assume, throughout the season and just in almost every game throughout the season. So good result for Chelsea, but expected. Next, we have Bournemouth and Tottenham, which finished 2-0 for Tottenham. James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski both scored, and I predicted a 1-1 draw. I got this one entirely wrong. Tottenham looked incredible. They had really good possession. They were taking a lot of touches, lots of shots as well. They look like a very intriguing team under Ange Postecoglou. Ange has been really great for them. Mickey Van de Ven's looked great as well. Destiny Udogie got an assist here for the second goal for Kulusevski. Pape Sarr got an assist for the Maddison goal. And the Maddison goal was sublime. Like, Pape Sarr has been an absolute revelation for Tottenham, to say the least, this season. He's been just absolutely class. Like, James Maddison getting a goal, shout out to him, and Kulusevski. Kulusevski's in my FPL team, I think, though. So that's hype. But James Maddison is, a player who many people had a lot of expectations for a big move this summer, and he's gotten into Tottenham, and it's working out incredibly for him. Bournemouth, on the other hand, tough loss, but this Tottenham team looks really nice, so can't really be upset with that too much, but my prediction was wrong. Then I also got another wrong prediction. I predicted this Arsenal-Fulham game to end 3-1 for Arsenal. Did not end 3-1 for Arsenal, ended 2-2. There was another red card in here. There was a lot of red cards this weekend, a trend in the Premier League with how many red cards there has been. And some are justified and some are a little more, skeptical. But at the end of the day, it's just interesting to see how much it's accumulating in terms of, comparing it from this point last season. It's a lot less last season compared to the Reds this season. But first minute goal is really like the biggest story here. A really awkward Saka back pass finds its way towards Andres Pereira, who starts darting towards the goal. He's got like just tons of acres of space, and he just fires in a shot with his right foot that I don't know what Ramsdale was doing. Ramsdale did start, and he had an absolute mare on that goal, but Saka did as well in terms of his pass. Like, it was just like such a wayward, mindless pass that Fulham capitalized on. Then, there was some subs in the first half and the second half for both sides. Trossard came off for Nketiah. I didn't catch whether that was an injury, but Partey also came off. Partey started at right back. That was another weird kind of development. And Havertz and Odegaard were in midfield with Rice. It was kind of a rotated squad for Arsenal. But Fulham managed to take advantage of that, even going down a man. Calvin Bassey was sent off in the 83rd with a red, but then Joel Polina struck in a pretty solid winner, honestly. It was a very good goal. Sterling also had a ridiculous goal in the Chelsea game. But yeah, I got that one wrong. Brentford versus Crystal Palace. Didn't watch this game. Straight up just did not watch this game. Know very little about it. Know it's ended 1-1. Kevin Schade did score. I predicted a 2-0 Brentford win, so another wrong prediction. And Joaquim Anderson scored for Crystal Palace. Kevin Schade is one of the wow, I did not know that the shots on target discrepancy was that big. I mean, Crystal Palace had 5 on target, but 1 shot on target and that being your goal is actually kind of crazy for Brentford. Let's see how they lined up. Yeah, so they had Schade start with Wisa and Mbuemo. And I mean, this is just like one of those fixtures. I feel like they're both kind of like sides that could put up a fight. And honestly, Jefferson Lerma been bossing it up for Crystal Palace since he's moved there. Very good signing. And Eze is just such a quality player. Ayew did get the assist though off the bench for Joaquim Anderson, but I got that one wrong, and then I got this one wrong as well. I predicted 0-0. This finished 1-0 to Wolves. Sasha Kalajic did score for Wolves, and that's actually kind of nice to see. Pedro Neto with the assist, but Kalajic had a very bad injury last season. He was a player that was signed, and this is another game I just did not get the chance to see. But from the looks of it, Wolves kind of smash and grab this at Goodison Park, even though they had more possession. They didn't really break down Everton too much. But if you look at the lineups, I mean, both sides are very pragmatic. They like to sit back. They like to have and Wolves almost has a different formation here because Matheus Nunez is apparently set to join City. He usually was playing they played like a 3-4-3 last week, I think, with him at like left mid. But this is honestly decent for Wolves. This is a very good result. Goodison's a hard ground to go to. And Mateus Cunha looks like a very quality buy, but they have to get some of these players like He Chan Huang or Fabio Silva to really kind of step up and continuously deliver. Pedro Neto did get the assist, so shout out to him. And Jose Sa was man of the match, so credit to him as well. And then I had a 2-1 United win. I got the result right. I also predicted Bruno Fernandes to score a penalty, which he did in the 76th minute. This game was crazy. I woke up a little late, like I think a minute in, and I pulled it up. And as soon as I pulled it up, Taiwo Awoniyi scored, and he's now the 3rd African player in all of Premier League history to score in 7 consecutive games. Salah did it, Adebayor did it, but Taiwo Awoniyi did it across 2 seasons, so that's kind of interesting to me. But there was another red card. Joe Worrell was sent off for Nottingham Forest. I saw the beginning and like after the red of this game, but Casemiro did have a goal that was very passionately struck in that I saw, and Christian Eriksen's goal was also, a very solid goal. Taiwo's goal was, there was a bit of a weird kind of error on Onana's part where Onana kind of like leapt or took a leap kind of before it, was in a position to even go for the ball, before it was even struck. So that was really weird, but he's still a quality goalie, so I wouldn't really slate him that much. They got the win, so that's all that matters. But Willy Boley's goal was weird. It kind of like bounced off his face in the 4th minute and just like ended up in the net. But 5-6 minutes in, this fixture was crazy. But United managed to pull it off, so credit to them. They have a bit of a left back crisis right now with Dallo playing there temporarily, and Shaw and Malacia both being injured. That's not really ideal, but correct result on the United game, but not the correct scoreline. And then another game that I completely got wrong. I predicted Brighton and West Ham to finish 2-2. finished 3-1 to West Ham. And I watched this game live, and this was a crazy game. These stats are maybe the most interesting stats of the weekend. And immediately, the 78% possession to 22 is pretty nutty. The 10 shots on target to 7 is insane. 25 shots in total to 12. The biggest thing, I watched this game in its entirety, and in the 19th minute, James Ward-Prowse had managed to somehow give West Ham the lead, and it was through sheer determination on Mikel Antonio's behalf, where he kind of kept, moving forward, trying to like push the ball after like a bit of sloppy play from some Brighton defenders, and he just kind of sent in a pass, and it took a deflection, and James Ward-Prowse was there to smash it in. An open play goal, might I add. Also, I did say James Ward-Prowse would score, but I imagine it more as like a free kick or something. He very rarely scores from open play. But West Ham had a wonderful weekend. Bowen got the second goal, and what a finish it was. An incredible pass by Said Benrahma. In the second half, he got subbed on, and he got the assist to Jared Bowen. And then Jared Bowen got a lovely assist himself to Mikel Antonio, who received the ball off a left-footed pass from Bowen that was kind of chipped through between lines, and he had a lovely bit of kind of footwork where he just kind of like received the ball and quickly turned, and then as soon as he cut the angle and it was open, he just smashed it into the bottom left corner. Bowen's was a very tidy kind of like slight flick of his left foot compared to Antonio's lash of his left foot, but both goals were incredible. West Ham just absolutely, they went to Brighton, they had a game plan, they sat back, and they won. And honestly, this game at one point, I think it was 23 minutes had passed or something like that. There was like 220 passes by Brighton to West Ham's like 13. And West Ham grew into the game more and more as it progressed. So they have like a lot more passes, but even 208 to 749, they almost got outpassed by 4 times. That's kind of crazy, But very good defensive display by West Ham. They were absolutely relentless. One of the more entertaining games of the weekend for sure. Next is Burnley versus Aston Villa. I got this one totally wrong. I predicted 1-0 Burnley win. I didn't catch the game, but I did see that Matty Cash managed to get 2 goals for himself, which is always interesting to see for a defender. Ollie Watkins and Moussa Diaby got assists. Moussa Diaby also got a goal in the 61st, and Lyle Foster scored for Burnley in the 47th. There wasn't a red card there. Okay. But yeah, very, very interesting to see Burnley kind of struggling. A lot of people were expecting Burnley to do a lot better. Obviously it's only 3 games into the season, but I was expecting Turf Moor to be rocking. I was expecting Aston Villa to come here and have a tough game, but 8 minutes in, getting scored on is not ideal, and then getting scored on twice in 20 is certainly not ideal. But Aston Villa is a very quality team. Like you look at Villa's lineup. Oh wow, they had Olsen start. Is Martinez injured? I didn't even know that. But this is like a slightly rotated. Not even McGinn was like kind of like a forward. Interesting. But regardless, it seems like Villa lined up a bit deeper. You have almost like a back 5 with Digne and Cash playing as wing backs. But a lot of these players for Villa are so quality compared to what they were at a couple seasons ago. Diego Carlos, Pau Torres, even someone like Moussa Diaby or Boubacar Kamara or Douglas Luiz are players that you see play for Villa, and it's kind of like, dang, like, okay, Villa, go on then. But totally got this one wrong. Predicted an entirely different result and score. Sheffield United versus City. Sheffield United nearly got a point, but Rodri had a absolute ridiculous goal. Classic City game in terms of possession, almost 80% to 20. Significantly more touches, significantly more passes, and they just dominated Sheffield away. City has been absolutely insane. Haaland scored in the 63rd, and then Rodri scored then Jayden Bogle rather scored in the 85th, which was quickly reversed and canceled by Rodri's wonder strike into the top left corner. Not much you can do against City. Tough loss for Sheffield United at home. They would have loved to get a draw. That would have been a really nice point for them, honestly, like something that give them motivation in the coming weeks. But you look at their lineups, just quickly comparing them: Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol, Kovacic, Grealish, Rodrigo, Alvarez, Bernardo Silva, Holland. And then you look at the Sheffield lineup, and it's night and day. I feel kind of sad for Sheffield. Um, they they're gonna feel hard pressed about this result for a bit, and it'll probably weigh on them because that would have been one of the best results they could have gotten all season, realistically. But anyways, the final game of the weekend, the game that the second game I went live for this weekend, first Liverpool live stream, or Premier League Liverpool live stream. I did a couple preseason games before this, but that it was the first one that I went live for this season and ever. So I was very anxious and very heated, and there was some technical errors where when I came back from the second half, there was just no audio. So, there was audio. It was just I muted my mic and I had music playing, like royalty-free music instead. So up until like the 70th minute, really. So right before the subs. But this game I've talked about at length. If you want to know my true thoughts on the fixture itself, go and check out my latest video. There's a lot to discuss, but besides, the yellow card to Trent, which became immediately a big point for the game in terms of, where Newcastle was targeting Liverpool, is always they were always going to target Trent, but a yellow card 6 minutes in kind of exacerbated that. And then Anthony Gordon took advantage of that kind of, yellow card. Trent could have even gotten sent off himself. A lot of people were saying, maybe not the first yellow card being a yellow card, but the second one definitely would have been. The second one definitely was a yellow card. It was a little more like physical, is kind of like a push off, but if you're going to give a yellow to either one of those, I'd rather he give it for the second. But either way, Anthony Gordon scored once Trent had a lapse of concentration. Gordon just buried it under Alisson. And then 3 minutes later, there was a very controversial red card to Van Dijk. I still, a lot of people are like, well, it was a clear goal scoring opportunity. He gets him through the leg, this, that. I have in my latest video this new quote from the PGMOL, the people who officiate and determine the rules for the Premier League. And my interpretation of that rule makes it seem like that kind of direct, goal scoring opportunity outside the box would have to be like so clear and so far that you wouldn't, it didn't seem like Virgil's foul was really red worthy. I think it was absolutely a foul, absolutely a free kick, a yellow, and a severe warning like, hey man, one more just even slight foul from you, and like that's worthy of a yellow card, and I'm sending you off, okay? Like, it's only 28 minutes in, pipe down. But no, he wanted to make it about himself, the ref, so he gave Virgil a red. And then immediately after that, Luis Diaz was subbed off for Joe Gomez, who had a very good game, might I add. And then from the 28th minute, really, or the 33rd, however you want to look at it, all the way up until, I'd say, the 77th, like, there was just nothing from Liverpool that inspired any sort of hope that Liverpool would get 1 point. And then this beautiful man, Darwin Nunez, was subbed on for Alexis McAllister, the most important result of the weekend by far, or important substitution of the weekend by far, I should say. And if you look at these stats, the possession was clearly favoring Newcastle. The shots on target, the shots in general, the touches, the passes, the fouls were even more for Newcastle, funnily enough. I'm kind of interested as to why Liverpool might have more yellows, but Joelinton could have gotten 4 separate yellows by himself. There was a few moments that I was genuinely baffled by the ref not wanting to step in, not even just as a Liverpool fan, but just to not like turn the game into just an absolute brawl, and it teetered at points, but I will say that at the end, both of these subs, Harvey Elliott on for Wataru Endo, who had an incredible game, might I add, as well. Wataru Endo was solid, and I was really impressed by him. Gakpo didn't have the best games, but Jota came on, and Jota looked really lively, especially with Nunez, who came on alongside Gerald Kwanzaa, who replaced Matip, who was on the pitch. Kwanzaa looked incredible. He was thrown in to the last like 12, 15, 16 minutes of a very tense Premier League game. First Premier League match he's ever featured in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he's absolutely bossed it. He looked very, very comfortable. He looked, just sharp. He looked ready to go. And I honestly love that. I would love for him to get meaningful minutes and, be a quality player who Liverpool can rely on in games and moments like this. But Nunez, man. Nunez. So many people have doubted Darwin Nunez week in, week out, time and time again. And my very first video on this channel, you can go and check Darwin Nunez signs for Liverpool. I was so excited for Darwin to sign, and his last season wasn't the best, but it's the Premier League. You're going to have to adjust. Obviously, with Haaland there and the comparisons between the two last summer, it wasn't probably easy for Darwin, especially since, he's still learning English and, he didn't really know the language when he came. So that with the red card and everything that happened with him last season was kind of like, it didn't start off the best. But now, game week 3 of his second season here, and he had a similar kind of thing at Benfica. At Benfica, he had a okay first season where he kind of assisted more, didn't score a lot. The second season, he exploded and just tore up the league. But I just have to say, both goals, they were very similar goals. The first goal, when it came through towards Darwin, it took a deflection on Botman. It kind of somehow ended up at the feet of Darwin, and Darwin just pedaled. He just took off and struck it in, and it was such a great goal. The second goal was insane too. Harvey Elliott got a nice interception late on, and it ended up getting passed out to Salah, who got an incredible through pass towards Darwin Nunez, who buried it in the bottom left once again. In this game, honestly, like I was so livid on my live stream. I was just talking a lot of smack towards Newcastle fans, and I feel like rightfully so to some extent. There was a lot of favorable calls, I'd say, towards many Newcastle players in terms of just even like, not getting a yellow or not getting a foul called or a foul kind of being dragged on. It was a little dramatic in terms of the officiating, but I will say that I was so happy for Darwin, because this man he's been through the ringer, and honestly, I don't think there's a bigger, fan base that I find joy and comfort in beating in this fashion than Newcastle, because Newcastle loves the time waste. They love to, have an exhibition of the dark arts, so to speak, to time waste a bit, to, be wind up merchants, to kind of get under other opposing teams' skins, so to speak, and just kind of to all in all put pressure on a team more psychologically. And St. James Park is a wonderful atmosphere in terms of how, decadent of a stadium it is, the raucousness of their supporters. I love that. I have always loved that version of Newcastle, but this is Newcastle of new. And this Newcastle, or this new Newcastle, is, they're another oil money team. And as of right now, they are still kind of showing off signs of that old Newcastle, having the likes of Longstaff in there, or Dan Burn, or Target, or Livramento, or Barnes, or whoever it might be. Players that I think are, quite frankly, not at the level of what a Newcastle would want to get to. So players that I think within 2-3 seasons will get replaced inevitably. But at this moment, they haven't been able to financially pull off that level of cash injection based on, previous finishes and such. So now it's just like always fun when you beat them. And Liverpool did the double last season on them. So it'd be nice to get the double again this season. Very quickly, my fantasy Premier League team. Let's look at it. Yeah, so I played my bench boost, which was pretty stupid of me. Not gonna front. Very dumb week. 5 5 points from Areola. Estupinian had a mare. Henry didn't do too great. Colwell got 6 points, which is nice. Eze got 2. Kulishevsky got 8, which is great. Salah got 5 because of his assists. Szoboszlai got 2. He did okay. Joel Pedro with 1. Alvarez with 2. Holland with 8. And then Leno with 5. Trent with 1. And then this is just rough. I got to figure out what's up with this, honestly. Enciso's out for months. He's going to have to get sold, but he's not worth a lot of money if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. 5.4. I think he was worth 5.5, or maybe he was worth, yeah, I think he was worth 5.5. And Ben Mee is worth 4.9. Okay, so I might be able to swap these guys out next week for some other players. But yeah, these two are really kind of not going to be able to continue long term, probably. I think there's a rotation risk for Ben Mee, and Enciso's injury, God knows when he comes back. I'm probably going to have to drop him for the foreseeable future in this season, maybe pick him up in the second half if he's fit and cheap. But yeah, you could expect some changes to all of this in my Premier League preview, which will drop very shortly, probably Wednesday, Thursday-ish, before the first match of the game week 4 for the Premier League, which will be the last match week before there's an international break. So stay tuned for all your latest Premier League content, news, fantasy Premier League news, and everything just generally related to football here on the Sideline Sedo YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far and you're not already subscribed, why aren't you subscribed already? Because, you know, you made it this far. Might as well just subscribe and take a roll of the dice on another video sometime in the future. So thank you anyways for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Comment down below what are your thoughts about game week 3, the 23-24 Premier League season. Thank you finally once again for watching. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.